Silence is not the absence of words, it's the presence of control. In a world addicted to noise, the one who masters silence engineers not just power, but perception, psychology, and dominance. Today, we go deeper into the mental engineering behind silence, not just as a habit, but as a weapon, a psychological tool, a shark's instinct. You'll understand why silence makes people uncomfortable, why explaining yourself is a trap, and how silence rewires both your mind and others. Most people are terrified of silence, not because it's empty, because it's a mirror. Silence exposes insecurity. It forces people to hear their own thoughts, to wonder what you're thinking. In negotiations, silence feels like pressure. In arguments, it feels like guilt. In relationships, it feels like distance. That discomfort is mental leverage. If you can sit comfortably in silence, you own the room. If you can let others speak while you say nothing, they'll give away more than you ever could. Why? Because humans have a deep psychological need to fill the gap, to be understood, to be seen. Silence creates a vacuum, and people rush to fill it. Every time you explain yourself unnecessarily, you hand over control. You tell the other person, I care what you think. I need your approval. I'm insecure about my position. Real strength requires no defense. Stop explaining your boundaries. Stop justifying your decisions. Let them wonder. This doesn't mean being rude. It means being grounded. Because when you over-explain, you're seeking validation. And those who seek validation are controlled by it. Let your silence be your shield. Let your results be your explanation. A shark doesn't thrash around in the water. It observes. It calculates. It strikes only when the outcome is certain. Silence is the shark's water. Strategic silence allows you to read the emotional state of the room, gauge reactions without revealing intent, maintain the psychological upper hand. A predator never shows his teeth until it's time to bite. Too many people are broadcasting weakness with every sentence, nervous chatter, oversharing, defensive language. Be the one who says less and means more. Silence is also a mental engineering process. It teaches you to listen better, react slower, and respond smarter. The person who can remain calm while others panic wins. The person who can pause before reacting controls the dynamic. To engineer silence internally, practice delayed response. Wait before replying. Use pauses instead of filler words. Ask questions instead of statements. Stay calm even when provoked. This inner silence builds emotional immunity. You become untouchable, unshakable. Power is quiet. Power listens. Power doesn't need to announce itself. When you become comfortable with silence, you become dangerous. You are no longer rushed, pressured, or manipulated. You watch. You wait. You choose the perfect moment. And when you do speak, every word lands like a sword. Mental engineering starts with discipline, but silence is the advanced level. You're not just avoiding noise. You're weaponizing presence. So next time you're tempted to fill the air, pause. Next time you're asked to explain, don't. Next time you're in a room full of noise, be the still point, be the shark, be the mirror, be the silence that unsettles, commands, and conquers. Silence is not just the absence of words, it is a strategy, a shield, and sometimes a weapon. As Machiavelli suggests, a prince, or any person seeking influence, must master the art of concealment. Speaking too freely reveals intentions, weakens positions, and invites unnecessary risks. True power often lies in restraint. Let others speak, while you observe. In the end, silence protects more than words ever could. We live in a world obsessed with noise. Everyone's talking. Everyone's posting. Everyone's trying to prove something. Screaming to be heard. Begging to be seen. And the louder they get, the weaker they become. Because power isn't loud. Power is quiet, controlled, measured, silent. The wise man knows, what you say can be used against you. But what you don't say? That's a mystery. And mystery is leverage. Niccolò Machiavelli understood the value of silence in political warfare. He watched princes rise and fall, not by the sword, but by the tongue. He wrote, "A prudent man should always follow in the footsteps of great men and imitate those who have been outstanding. But imitation requires observation. And observation begins in silence." Machiavelli was not interested in morality. He was interested in results. He knew, the leader who speaks too freely, too often, loses control of the narrative. The silent prince? He listens. He lets others reveal themselves. He lets the impatient overtalk, overcommit, overexpose. Silence isn't just the absence of speech. It is the presence of strategy. Sun Tzu was a general, a tactician, and a philosopher of invisibility. He wrote, "All warfare is based on deception, and nothing deceives better than silence." In war, noise gives away position. In business, noise gives away your plan. In life, noise gives away your power. The general who remains quiet is feared. The enemy cannot read him. They begin to doubt. They imagine traps that don't exist. And that is the point. Sun Tzu said, "When you are near, make it appear that you are far. When you are far, make it appear that you are near." That illusion, that misdirection, it starts with silence. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, ruled over the greatest empire of his time. But he did not rule with noise. He ruled with reflection. He wrote in his journal, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." A Stoic does not speak unless necessary, because talking is often the illusion of control. Silence is a form of restraint. It shows you are anchored in yourself, not reacting, not chasing, not needing. In Stoicism, silence is strength. It's how you contain your emotions, how you stop yourself from doing something foolish. It's how you conserve energy for the right moment. The man who pauses before he speaks owns the room. The strategy of pause. Now let's bring this into the modern world. In a business meeting, the most powerful person is not the one who speaks most. It's the one everyone waits to hear from. In negotiation, the person who stays silent after an offer forces the other side to feel the pressure of the pause. In relationships, silence creates space. Space reveals truth. Sometimes people fill silence with their own guilt, their own lies, their own motives. In leadership, people trust the leader who speaks with purpose, not the one who fills the air to fill the void. Silence is pressure, and pressure causes others to reveal themselves. Abraham Lincoln would pause before answering. Long, uncomfortable pauses. It made people lean in. Napoleon Bonaparte used silence to study his enemies. He once said, "Never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake." Vladimir Putin, no matter what you think of him politically, weaponizes silence in every public appearance. He doesn't overtalk. He waits, listens, freezes the room. And this is the pattern, across cultures, centuries, and empires. The man who talks the least often controls the most. Back to Lao Tzu, the master of paradox. He who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know. Silence isn't only a tactic. It's a way of life, a connection to something deeper, a source of calm when the world is in chaos, a discipline in a time of impulsiveness, a weapon in a time of emotional outbursts. The Tao teaches, water is soft, but it wears down stone. Silence is soft, but it crushes noise, not with force, but with patience. In a world ruled by appearances, power, and manipulation, words are weapons that, when used carelessly, can turn against those who speak them. Not everyone deserves to know what you think, and not everything you think should be exposed to the judgment of others. Speaking too much is like handing your enemies the key to your weaknesses. It's giving away your strategies to those who are simply waiting for a chance to use them against you. Impulsive men betray themselves with their words, but the cunning protect themselves through silence. Every word spoken should be measured like a move on the chessboard, precise, necessary, and with a hidden purpose behind it. Silence protects, observation strengthens, and carefully calculated words conquer. That is why true strategists do not speak to fill the void. They speak to shape reality in their favor. The power of words is often underestimated by those who speak too much and think too little. In a world where silence has become rare, true strength lies in the discipline of knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Machiavelli understood this better than most. Words, once spoken, cannot be retrieved, but silence can be shaped into power, strategy, and survival. A man who reflects before speaking controls not only his tongue but the perception of others, and this silent control is often far more dangerous than loud declarations. As Machiavelli warned, a prudent man does not say all he thinks, but always thinks all he says. So what can we learn? When emotions rise, pause. When someone insults you, don't respond. When the world demands an answer, delay it. Let your silence say what your words never could. Because silence builds mystery, reveals truth, commands respect, and gives you time to make the right move. This is not about weakness. This is not about hiding. It's about control. It's about dominance through discipline. The loudest man in the room is the easiest to predict. The quiet one? He's watching. He's learning. He's preparing. And when he moves, you never see it coming. Be silent. Observe. Win.